Welcome to Earth's mightiest weirdos. Man, you do not want to see me in a full screen shot like that, but it's where we are in today's world. There's a lot of Marvel news today, but you're not here to hear about that just yet. We do have an extended World According to Jax, where Jax is going to interview, and I interview Logan's dad, Logan Dominic Cosplay, on Instagram. We are trying to help get Logan to MegaCon here in Orlando. You may have seen Logan on the Marvel social channels during the Moon Knight premiere, as Oscar Isaac bypassed everybody at that premiere because he wanted to meet Logan in Logan's Moon Knight cosplay. So we are going to roll to that interview with myself and Jax with Logan and his dad. All right, we are pleased to be joined by @Logan Dominic Cosplay on Instagram. And how many other places are you, Logan? How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Awesome. Well, and Logan's dad, of course, Emmanuel, or we will just simply refer to you as Logan's dad. You said that's what you're best known as.
Yeah, pretty much.
Perfect. Well, you're the man behind all the creations, right? You're not sending any of this out. You're doing it all.
Yes, yeah. So pretty much, yeah. Literally, the only one that I didn't make was the Spider-Man, but I did customize it. Like I added a muscle suit under. I did some puff paint on it, and just to make it a little more pop.
Logan, I thought those were your real muscles. You're telling me there's a muscle suit under there?
Yes.
Oh man, you're tricking me. Well, let's give people just a little taste as to what we're dealing with here. Logan, you dressed up as Boba Fett and you dressed up as Din Djarin. If they were to fight each other, we know they never would, but do you think Din Djarin or Boba Fett would win in a fight?
Who do you think would win? Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. All right, that's pretty tough talk against that guy holding the darksaber, huh?
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Well, Jax is here as well. We've got the World According to Jax in a much larger segment this week. Jax is going to ask Logan a few questions, but until we get to that point, I wanted to ask Logan's dad, what do you do? How do you know how to do this stuff? And do you feel bad for making me feel like an inadequate father?
The thing with that, I didn't know how to do none of this stuff at all. Back when he was 2 years old, that's where he started his cosplaying thing. He wanted the movie, the Deadpool came out, Ryan Reynolds movie came out, and he saw it. And I'm not gonna lie, I am that parent that he likes watching those movies. I'm not gonna, like, if he likes to watch it, and I got a lot of like stuff from it, like, oh, he's too young for that. Why are you gonna watch it? To this day, I still get that, but to each their own. For him, he saw it, he loved it, and he's like, "Oh, Dad, I like, oh, that's a cool costume." I'm like, "Oh, like I want one." I'm like, but at the time, they weren't making that Deadpool suit. He wanted that suit, so I'm like, and I was like, "All right." I mean, I think I could figure it out. I already knew how to sew. That seamstress, that was already in my background. My mom taught me whatever. She was a seamstress. That's the only thing I had in my belt. So I had to learn how to sculpt, mold, pretty much do it, craft foam and all that. Draw. I know how to draw, so that helped me out also. So when I made him as the first suit, the suit itself, I still needed the facial. So I saw that the facial, you needed an actual shell that goes under the mask. I didn't know that. I didn't know that much about cosplay at the moment. So I went into YouTube. I'm like, well, how do you sculpt? Like I literally I searched how to sculpt, and pages came up, and then I like how to make a facial. So someone actually did make a facial out of sculpting. So for him, that's what I did. I sculpted it up and made the eyes and everything. So now I had to figure out how to mold. Obviously, I can't make it in clay.
So are you putting like clay on his face and all that kind of stuff? So
no, luckily there's a mannequin head that they sell at Michael stores or Hobby Lobby. The girl one, there's a girl head that's best for kids, just because they don't have the chin. For kids that they're at that age, they don't have the chin, so it's better for them. The mask will fit better.
I don't know. So man. You got a pretty good chin here. No, I know. So, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So the other one I had, that's the one I got, and that's the one I used for the base. I just put the clay over that, It carved out the eyes and the whole thing. Like I said, then I had to learn how to make that into a face shell, into plastic. So I had to make a mold and all that. I mean, it was rough, but it worked out.
Yeah.
And it came out.
So that's the one you probably learned the most on, like just because it was your first one, and you've been able to apply a lot of those lessons to everything else you've done.
Exactly. Yes, that I learned a lot from that first one. And from that, we took him to go see Rob Liefeld. He was at Frankenson's right here in La Puente Hills, and he was signing autographs. So we took him, and he saw him, and he was just, like, oh my god. His wife took him in, like, oh my god, bring him over here, la la la. And he put it on his pages. That from that point on, he just kept getting, out there, So that helped us out a lot.
That's awesome. Well, Jax, you have a few questions for Logan, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get Logan on here. Go ahead and go right there.
My first question is, what is your favorite cosplay you and your dad have done so far? I think I know.
No, you answer to him. Answer him.
Moon Knight. Moon Knight.
You're getting a lot of attention on that Moon Knight one, huh? We're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. Let's pull up that Moon Knight costume.
Yeah, that was, I think, one of the most complex one that I had to make. That I had to make really fast. I had to finish it within like 3 to 4 days.
Because they wanted you at the premiere, but you didn't have anything made yet. Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, Logan, how did that feel? I saw the video when your dad told you guys were invited to the Moon Knight premiere. Was that pretty cool?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. What was it like, Jax? I'm going to steal one of your questions if that's okay. What was it like for this man to walk by everybody that was there to see him, and he came straight to you? Do you know who that guy is?
Yes.
What's his name? Do you know?
Yeah.
Steven with a V? Steven Grant?
Yes.
That's Oscar Isaac, right? Like, how cool was
Yeah.
that Moon Knight himself wanted to meet you?
What else does he play that you know him from?
Star Wars.
He's Poe Dameron, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's what he said when he saw him.
That's Poe.
When he saw him come out and come towards him, he's like, "Dad, that's Poe from Star Wars." I'm like, and everyone around like, "Yeah, that is him. That is him."
Well, in the video that went out on the official Marvel Studios feed too, is Logan's talking to Kevin Feige of all people, like the man I would like to meet more than just about anybody. And then here comes Oscar Isaac. Like,
exactly him, he doesn't know much of that.
Yeah.
To me, I was wow. For me, it was like, and I told him, like, you just met the president of Marvel. Like, you don't get how that big that is. He's like, oh yeah, like, but Poe Cameron, he's from Star Wars. I'm like, yeah, I get that, but Kevin Feige.
We were talking to Frank from Frankly Built the other night, and he had his Moon Knight helmet that he 3D printed that Kevin Feige signed. He goes, yeah, and Oscar Isaac was supposed to sign it for me. And if you go to Logan's page and watch the video, you can see me just get really disappointed because Oscar goes right by me so he can go straight to Logan. So
I heard a lot about that from other people that were there. Like, oh, he just passed me. Like, oh, like, I'm sorry.
Dude, everybody gets it. That's an incredible. Logan, are you watching Moon Knight? Do you like Moon Knight?
Yes.
Yeah. Who's been your favorite character so far? Is it Mark Spector or Steven Grant?
Steven Grant.
Steven Grant. You like Steven? Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
He likes that suit, the Mr. Knight suit.
Mr. Knight, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus,
because he's more like goofy, more that's more him.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. That's why he loves playing like cosplaying Spider-Man, because he gets to be more, goofy, more playing around, jumping around.
Yeah. Do you know who Colonel Sanders is, Logan? Psycho Colonel Sanders? You ever had Kentucky Fried Chicken?
KFC.
Yeah, I guess it is just straight up KFC, isn't it? All right. Well, Jax has another question. Go ahead, Jax.
So, who's your favorite character in Marvel movie?
Who's your favorite Marvel character, and which one's your favorite movie?
Yeah, who's your favorite Marvel character, and which is your favorite movie?
Spider-Man.
Ooh, we like Spider-Man.
And what's your favorite movie? Marvel movie.
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Which Spider-Man in Spider-Man No Way Home was your favorite? Because spoiler alert, there's 3 of them.
Oh, yep.
What?
Which one did you like more?
That's a very hard question. I understand.
Andrew Garfield.
Oh, it was pretty cool when he caught MJ falling from the.
Yeah,
All right,
that's
go ahead,
the
Jack.
suit we just got him, and he's all into that suit. He loves the Andrew Garfield one. He used to love Toby, and then because he's only seen the Tobey Maguire ones and the Tom Holland ones. He's never seen the Andrew Garfield ones. So when he saw him here, he's like, "Whoa, who's that?" Like,
It's a
and
whole other one.
yeah, he fell in love with his suit, so he wanted me. That's why I ended up getting that suit for him.
Logan, which movie is better, Spider-Man No Way Home or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? There's no wrong answer.
Spider-Man to Spider-Verse.
Yeah, we went and saw the Sonic movie the other night and saw the new Spider-Verse trailer, and we are very excited for the next one.
Oh, we saw the Sonic movie and it was amazing.
It had some good stuff in it. All right, Jax has a question about your hoverboard.
Yeah, how hard is it to ride on your hoverboard? Not that hard.
That's pretty good balance, right?
Is it hard to see through that helmet?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, that helmet is really, really cool. So, Logan's dad, you made everything in this video that we're watching?
Correct. So pretty
The
much the
hoverboard
helmet itself. It's obviously 3D printed. The eyes. I was trying to figure out what's the best way to replicate those eyes from the movie, and because a lot of other people, they go different route. They vacuum form them, they vacuum form the shape and all that stuff. I don't have that kind of equipment, so I was trying to go the other way. So, and here where I live, there's this place they call it's Fashion District, pretty much. There they have these shops that sell a lot of like different sunglasses. Now the one I bought was this like full visor that covers your whole face, and it was that color. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just get that, cut out the shape, and then kind of heat it a little bit to make it a little more roundish, form it into the eye. So that's what I did with that one. And obviously the 3D printed eye, it was all 3D printed. And then the color was one of the things was actually the hardest because I really wanted to replicate the color from the movie. And that shade where it goes from green to purple kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I found this paint in Michael. You can find it I found it at Michael's. It's Testers. It's pretty much a little can of spray paint that they use for when you make model cars. So, and it's called Color Shift Emerald Green. So, oh no, I'm sorry, green copper. The one I use is green copper. So it goes from green to like a copper purple kind of color.
Mm-hmm.
And until this day, I still get messages like, "Hey, how did you where did you get that color? How did you achieve that color? Like, how did you get two colors in one?" I'm like, it's just color shift. It's the spray paint comes with two colors in one, depending on the angle of the sun. Or I mean, where the sun hits it.
When you're talking about the sun, I mean, you could see it really well in this photo with Groot, man. You could see just how that entire color shifts. Man, it looks straight out of the movie. Like you could not have done a better job.
Oh,
it's really impressive.
And everything else in the body is some craft foam. I just looked up pictures, references, and just drew everything on him, and everything was just glued on him, and then just spray paint the whole thing.
So Logan, one thing that I've noticed is you're standing really like Green Goblin in this one. In the Mando pictures, you look like Mando. You look like Boba Fett. Are you watching these and learning how to walk and act like them, or does it just come supernaturally to you? Are you just that awesome?
I watch how.
So you try to be just like them?
Yes.
You're going to be an actor, man. You've got some really, really cool stuff. So, all right, Jax has another question for you.
So from the Moon Knight, from the Moon Knight cosplay, how do you make the eyes light up? And is it hard to see through them? Because in one of the pictures, I saw the eyes light up without any like touching touching a button or anything. How do you make them light up?
So my dad put this little
Switch.
in my chin, so I could go like this, and then the lights just turn off.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
Bring it. It's right there on the table. You could bring the Mr. Knight one.
Are you doing a Mr. Knight? Are you doing a Mr. Knight right now?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Next, nice.
Exclusive right now. No, I put it up. I put only the mask on, up on IG. So pretty much, let's see if you can see this. So inside, you see there's a that little switch right there. Let me turn it on for you. Hold on.
Oh, I turned it on.
Oh, you already turned it on? So once you push the button, it turns on. So if you can see, the LED eyes are on the eyes, and then there's a little battery. There's some wiring that you have to do, and then you with this chin, he just slightly opens his mouth a little bit and turns on the light to give you that, that. What is it?
I have a light. I have a light above my shower. It's like a halogen light that I don't even know how to change that thing, man. And you're doing this, Logan. Is it hard when the lights are on? Can you still see through the eyes?
Yeah, it's a little hard to see with the eyes.
Yeah, but you can still see through them. It's not too hard. Okay.
I think in the nighttime is for those it's hard to see. In daytime he can see perfectly. And the nighttime is when it gets hard for him to see. And actually, the whole wiring of this, the way I did it is actually help from Frank Built.
Okay.
He has a video. That's why I praise the guy so much, because his videos are so detailed and so hands-on kind of thing. That's how I learned. I watch videos and this guy tells you exactly what to do. He had a video on how to do this, and I pretty much just followed it and worked that, and that's how I've been doing this one. I did the Moon Knight one like that. So, and I can't find one where if he just presses it. I'm sure there is, but I can't find where you press it, the light stays on. That way he doesn't have to, because he would have to keep his chin up like this, so like that for it to stay on.
Yeah.
But it's only for picture. That's all. Like, just turn it on, and once someone wants to take a picture, just turn it on for pictures, then you can turn it back off.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I saw Frank doing some stuff the other day where he's in one of his Iron Man suits. He's got it literally in his finger, where he can just kind of put his fingers together, and that's how he turns. I think the arc reactor. Maybe the arc reactor is always on, but I know that's how he.
Yeah, the arc reactor is always on. He has like a expansion pack of like a battery on for this to turn on. He that's controlled with his finger, so it's a reed switch. He has like a magnet here and the reed switch here, and the cable goes off through his arm all the way to the helmet. So once you touch them together, it activates it and makes the plate go down, the face plate. And in here, there's a little switch like the one he has in his thing. So once it touches it, it turns on the eyes.
Okay. Yeah.
It's really incredible.
Yeah, and I saw his Infinity Gauntlet too that he's got to go on that market.
Beautiful.
I kind of understand the finger thing. I did open and close circuits in class once.
Yeah, you're probably smarter than I am. So we know Mr. Knight.
There you
We
go.
know Mr. Knight is next, but Jax's next. What's going to be the next cosplay? Are you doing something for maybe Thor or Multiverse of Madness?
For Multiverse of Madness, I already made him the Doctor Strange one.
Oh yeah, I should have pulled up a picture of that. I apologize.
I
think
did
I
make him
actually
that
have
one
here. Yeah, there's Doctor Strange right there.
Yeah, that one I literally just added the light already. Like I made that yesterday for the Green Knight to pop out. So that's for that. As far as like the other little projects I have for him, I am currently making him the Buzz Lightyear suit from the movie. So that one I'm printing right now. I already have, and I stopped making
Disney,
it.
We hope you're listening, and you're going to invite Logan to the Lightyear premiere.
Right? I mean, how amazing would it be? Just a little mini Buzz Lightyear walking around. I think that'd be cool.
You and I want to meet Tim Allen, and I want to meet Chris Evans too. But like, I mean, that's going to be a fun premiere. I hope Tim Allen and Chris Evans are both there.
Right? That'll be amazing. Chris Evans, I'm sure like he'll be about Tim Allen. I don't know, but that is he in the movie? Because that cat, the animal he has, it sounds like Tim Allen. Some say it sounds like Tim Allen, but I don't know. It sounds like Woody to me.
I would assume they would do. I would assume they'd do something with Tim Allen. Like he's the original voice of Buzz Lightyear. Like if you're gonna recast it, cool. But like you got to get Tim Allen in the movie somehow.
Yeah.
So.
But so we have that Buzz Lightyear. We have one that I've been working on for a while. I just put a stop to it because they changed the whole delay on it. And I like to take out cosplays around the time the movie comes out, like or close to it, which is Michael Keaton Batman.
Oh
so that one's actually ready to go. I just need to buy the molding, the urethane to make the copy, but the mold and everything, they're there. I just need to get the urethane, like the rubber urethane, to make it.
Yeah, I saw the other pictures of the Robert Pattinson Batman as well, and you guys, I mean, just like everything else you've done, absolutely fantastic stuff. Jax has another question for Logan.
What do you like? What do you like about going to conventions like MegaCon?
Good.
Like, what do you like about going back to cons?
You like being the center of attention, taking all the pictures?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, huh? So the biggest reason, one of the reasons we wanted to have you on, Logan, was we are trying to get you to MegaCon, and MegaCon is here in Orlando in the middle of May, and you have a GoFundMe on your Instagram page at Logan Dominic Cosplay. People can go there; they can donate whatever they can to try and help get you to MegaCon. Do you know why we want you so bad to make it to MegaCon, Logan? Any guesses? We live in Orlando, and we have tickets. We have tickets to MegaCon, and we want to get the chance to meet you. So we've donated here at Earth's Mightiest Weirdos. We hope other of our listeners will be able to donate to try and get you to MegaCon. Does that sound like an okay deal?
Yes.
What cosplays are you going to be bringing to MegaCon? Have you thought that through yet?
Well, that one, if we do go, we would actually bring in some new stuff, to be honest.
Nice.
By that time, I would have Lightyear available. I would bring him. I think I would bring in Mando, just because a lot of people know him by that. That's when he got viral, like back in the day. New followers, they don't know that he was Mando. So I've had people send me videos or pictures of him from back in the day, like, oh man, like, because I know his ball fit, like, oh, you should check out this little Mando kid. Like, oh, that's him. I'm like, what? Are you serious? Like, yeah, that was him too. Like, oh my god, kind of thing. So a lot of people, a lot of new followers we just got, they don't know if it's old stuff, kind of thing. Which is, we should probably put new stuff in there.
I saw some videos of you guys at WonderCon last week. Frank was there. A lot of different cosplayers were there. One of the videos of WonderCon had Logan in as Boba Fett, and then another kid dressed up as Mando. Did you guys know that kid, or did you just bump into him?
No, we didn't know that kid actually, but that kid does follow Logan. We didn't know. We had seen him when we walked in, and we're like, but he wasn't suited. He went in when we saw him. He was suited up as Spider-Man at the time. That day he did a double change. He was Spider-Man and Boba Fett. So when we saw him, we're like, oh my god! And I asked the guy, the dad, like, hey, by any chance, how long are you guys gonna be here? Like, oh, we're gonna be here all day. Like, oh, okay, cool, because he's gonna change to Boba Fett around 3 p.m. Would you guys mind if we take a picture with you guys? Like, oh yeah, sure, kind of thing. So when we, time passed and everything, we got him Boba Fett. We bumped into him, and we took a picture and everything. And then he took the mask off, and the kid's like, oh, that's Logan. And we're like, oh yeah, like then like and then the mom was like, oh yes, we follow him. Oh my god, we didn't know that it was you this whole time. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Logan. And so the kid like, oh, I like your costumes. You're really cool. Like very shyish kind of thing. And it was amazing. It was great because I'm like, seeing that interaction with him and the little kid is like, wow, like, it was really cool to see.
Yeah, that's That's awesome. Get used to that, Logan. I think you're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff and meeting some other people that really know who you are over the coming years. I've got one question from one of our listeners, Anthony, who I know you guys have had a little bit of conversation as well. He wants to know what cosplayers are out there that you haven't met yet that you're really, really excited to meet.
Oh wow. We would love to be. I mean, which is funny because they're in Orlando. They're gonna be at that MegaCon. They're gonna have Liz Wonder. I think her IG is Liz.Wonder. She's known for Wonder Woman. She's looks like Gal Gadot.
Mm-hmm.
Her there's we met Frank, which for me that was pretty cool to meet him. Wow, that is a lot of pressure. There's a lot of them that we would love to meet.
I'm fairly new to the world of cosplay and but there's people like Taya Miller and people like that just do some really cool Marvel stuff. So I'd assume you've gotten a chance to meet a lot of them out at these premieres.
We met Taya. We met Taya actually before the whole Spider-Man No Way Home thing. Like Soups, I don't know if you know him, but he made a event for just a fan event for people that could watch they could go watch the movie before it came out.
Nice.
He went to that as Green Goblin, and they let him in. Then before that they had another little thing for Spider-Man. That's where we met Taya, and then again we met her at Comic-Con LA. So we met her. She's a great person. She's such a humble person. Same as Soups. What you call it? I know there's some that actually not hitting my head right now, but there are some that we obviously want to meet. We just met Mask Mateo. He was from over there in Texas. He just came down and we ended up meeting him, which that's one that we wanted to meet for a while. He does a lot of, he's very known for Nightwing.
Is he, did you guys is he the one that was Nightwing in that video that Logan arrested on your Instagram?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a cool one. That was a neat one.
Yeah, that was him, yeah. So that was pretty cool of him doing that, yeah.
Logan, have you ever been Nightwing? Have you already done that?
Yes.
Okay.
That's actually one of his favorites.
Nightwing's a cool one. I saw some pictures of the Flash. Like pretty much all I'm saying to our listeners is you need to go to @LoganDominicCosplay on Instagram. There's so many photos, so many cool photos that you would not just imagine you could ever see, especially coming from such a little kid. And like I said, a guy who didn't even know how to do any of this until he just watched a few sculpting videos on YouTube. That's really, really impressive.
Yes, and that's really what I want to say and get the message out is because I do get a lot of messages like, oh, like I can't do that for my son, like, oh my god, like, dude, like, come, like, how did you do that? Like, and I'll tell them all the time, like, anyone could do it, dude. Like, honestly, anyone could do it. I did not know how to do any of that stuff, and I just told them I literally just followed directions on the YouTube what this person was saying, and I just applied it to what I was doing. And I was like, I kind of changed it in a way where like, oh, I think I could do it this way. And you are gonna get a lot of trial and error, obviously, like any other thing. But once you actually figure it out and do it at the end, that's what's honestly worth it. So when I finish one of his costumes all the time, when I'm cutting out patterns and doing all this, it looks like nothing. It looks like it's not gonna work out. You're like, ugh. But once you put everything together, glue everything together, that's where you're like, oh man, it looks cool. Like, all right, it worked out. It worked out,
So it took a lot of hard work and dedication, and I guess you had to buy a 3D printer. Anything beyond that?
No, that's after before I had the 3D printer, I made everything with craft foam and stuff like that.
Okay.
And molding, and but after I got that, if you're into cosplaying or not even into cosplay, if you just like doing, hobby craft stuff or anything like that, I suggest get a 3D printer or a resin printer, which those are the thing right now. Those things you could print anything you want. Like if you're one of those like people that love Marvel, DC, like the shield you have behind there, like you could easily print all this stuff at your house and make your own stuff and you could put them up on your wall And that's the thing. You can make all this stuff for yourself.
Mom would be pretty good at that, wouldn't she? A 3D printer just to be able to make stuff. But I guess one thing that really surprised me is Frank said he doesn't design any of his stuff. Are you the same way? You just find stuff made
No.
with a 3D printer and then just print them out yourself?
No, and it's, and honestly, and it does suck that like the backlash that he gets for that.
It's stupid. Yeah.
Is because people don't understand that even 3D printing, it's hard to scale down. Like a lot of stuff doesn't come scale to your head or scale to your body. You still have to figure out how to scale it to your body, and you wouldn't know if it fits well until if it's finished printing. There's some people that they have like a little print thing where they print only like a little part and they'll see if it fits. But like I said, like you still have to figure out if it's gonna fit you. So a lot of people don't realize that it does take a lot of work in the computer to figure out all those dimensions and all that stuff. And even after you print, you still have to sand, paint, all this stuff, like put it together to hold. It's hard
if
stuff.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's like getting mad at Honda for making a car with another set of round wheels on it. Like, if it's working,
Exactly.
It's working. So, do you got any more questions for Logan?
No, I don't.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Logan and Logan's dad, Emmanuel.
Bye-bye.
We really, really appreciate it. Go to
bye.
@LoganDominic on Instagram. Find the GoFundMe. Please donate to the GoFundMe.
Bye.
Let's get Logan to MegaCon. Logan, we hope to meet you in about a month here at MegaCon here in Orlando. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Emmanuel. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Hey, wait, Logan, wait. Oh, God, sorry, Brian. I was so inspired by his thing. I did my own cosplay.
I think Logan's was a little nicer
but
than
he's
yours.
gone.
Yeah, I think Logan's was a little nicer than yours. What is up, fellas?
Are we going live yet?
We are live.
Oh, yikes. Just kidding. Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the official re-welcome of Earth's Mightiest Weirdos. Ryan from Agents of Field podcast up in the top corner. Robert, how are you this evening?
Good, man. How you guys doing?
I'll go back to Ryan in just a minute, but I wanted to say hello to Robert first. Good to have you, Robert. Ryan, how are you? Tell us about Agents of Field.
Doing well. Yeah, Agents of Field. We got an episode coming out this Wednesday. We're gonna be talking about NBA playoff previews. So, keep an eye out for that.
All right, and Alex from Comics and Cinema podcast. Alex, what's gonna be on Comics and Cinema tomorrow night?
We got a great conversation with the one and only Jay Lynn around the new Fantastic Beasts movie, just recorded. So we will have that out tomorrow. Very excited. Had a great talk.
All right, and we've got one more weirdo to bring into the group. It is Mark Valentine from Diz Life podcast. Mark, how are you today?
Gentlemen, so nice to be here. Hello.
We have to run. Go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say, I think Thor dropped today. So, of course, you're going to unearth that amazing hot take that I had about Fat Thor.
I unfortunately don't have it to play. I should have thought of that ahead of time. Mark, why don't you tell the audience what your thoughts are on Fat Thor?
All right. So a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, for the sake of producing good radio, I created a hot take that I didn't entirely believe in. But you know what? Like, when you say something in a debate show, sometimes, gentlemen, you die on that hill, because that's what you do when you take a certain point of view. You gotta run with it and go.
Yeah, but it's like that debate show was me versus Brian with an I. So it was like Tony Reale throwing in like a really hot take in the middle of the whole thing.
It was, and it was gratuitous, and it was completely and totally unnecessary. But I believe the quote was that Thor was lazy. He was a very lazy superhero who was not actualizing his potential, and that he was a perennial underachiever when it came to his life in the Infinity Saga. And for the vast majority of his time in the Infinity Saga, that Thor had kind of mailed it in really until the end of Ragnarok, when he started to actualize his potential. And that was a paradigm shift for him. It got me in a lot of hot water with fans of not just Chris Hemsworth, but also the Thor stands came for me hard. So seeing Homeboy doing a little bit of he was doing a little bit of a workout. He's looking really good. So I was certain that I would be pulled in today to now have to atone and amend for my sins. And I'm here to take my comeuppance, gentlemen. You may whoop on, you may fire when ready.
Well, let's start right there. Robert, as the resident artist in the group, how cool is this poster?
That's pretty dope, man.
It's awesome,
I like it
man.
a lot.
So really, really cool stuff. Says the one and only. Like, the trailer was very focused on Thor and Thor only. Very little Gore the God Butcher, Zeus, Mighty Thor. Very little of that. We got no Gore the God Butcher, which is interesting.
Wow.
But Alex, why don't you tell the rest of us? We're going to jump to the end of the trailer right now. It ended with a bang with Jane Foster as the Mighty Thor, Natalie Portman looking jacked as ever. Alex, why don't you tell us what is going on in this picture?
Besides my
your
heart stopping and my body falling to the floor and turning into dust, this is Jane Foster as Thor. She is basically there was a bit in the comics where Thor was no longer worthy to lift his hammer, and the hammer went to someone else. We didn't know who that was until the initial end of that run, where it was revealed it was Jane Foster all along. And the interesting twist, though, was that she had cancer. And so she was doing treatments by day and fighting crime by night, so to speak. But the caveat was anytime she picked up that hammer, because of the healing properties of that hammer, completely expunged her treatment out of her. So it was essentially killing her as she used it, because it didn't take care of the cancer. It just got rid of the treatments themselves, which was really fascinating. One of my favorite storylines. I'm so excited. When they ended it without Jane, and I was like, I know there's going to be something at the end, and I saw the hammer coming. I was like, they're going to show her, aren't they? And I almost turned it off because I was like, I want to, react in theaters. My hope now is that this scene's not even in the movie. But oh man, so good, so good.
All indications would lead us to believe that the way that this hammer has been reforged, it's probably within the sacred timeline, that it is our Jane Foster. It's not a multiverse version of Jane Foster. Ryan, where do you stand on seeing Natalie Portman in a way we've never, ever seen her, especially in the MCU?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. The end of that trailer was really badass. She looked awesome. The hammer looked really interesting, considering it was all broken apart, and it looks like it'll be reforged straight from Ragnarok. So that's really awesome. And I think that it's gonna be I don't want to say making up, but it's gonna fix some of the issues I think that people had with the character of Jane Foster, with the poor writing that was given to her, because Natalie Portman's a great actress. So they need to do some justice by her in the MCU.
She truly, deeply loves me. Pulling up Jalen, she says, not a huge fan of Jane Foster so far, so she's intrigued to see her as female Thor. Maya agrees with that. A couple of our nerdy girls after dark here on Thursday nights on the Nerd Life Network. Mark, we're going to come back to you because you talked about him working himself into shape, and he's getting ready for the NFL draft by just doing the chains, and he's got the trucker hat on it that I will buy the second I can, that says Strongest Avenger right on the top of it. Mark, what do you make of your man getting back into shape here?
Yeah, good for him. He committed to it, joined a CrossFit gym. He's kind of got the Rocky montage going on. I'm knowing the affinity that Taika Waititi has for the classics, the audio classics. One can only hope that we're going to get a Rocky 4-esque training montage at some point of this. Look, Thor Ragnarok is one of my favorite movies. Maybe another little hot take, not really ticking people off on this one, though. I think it might be actually the most perfect movie in the Infinity Saga, scaling all of the stuff that it has, that how funny it is, how much it gets done, how visually beautiful the film is. So I'm super psyched. I think Taika Waititi understands the character. He understands what Thor needs. I really love his voice as a filmmaker, period. So I'm very happy to see the story that Thor is going to get in this. And I'm really excited. What I will say is I think this will be probably the only trailer that I watch. I have not watched any of the Doctor Strange stuff because I felt like a lot of the stuff that I wanted to get from Spider-Man, I felt like it was spoiled. I don't want to have anything spoiled with these next two films that I really want to have a little bit of shock value when it comes to watching it. So I'd say I feel like I've already seen too much.
I don't know. I mean, we waited so long for that trailer, and I don't feel like we got anything until the last 5 seconds. But Robert, one thing we did get is the character of Zeus, played by Russell Crowe. That lightning bolt looks straight out of the Disney version of Hercules and Rip Torn's version of Zeus.
Oh, yeah.
But Robert, do you think we're gonna get much of Russell Crowe here? What do you expect from Zeus and especially Gore the God Butcher? Because I know you and I have had multiple conversations about how Hela kind of took on a lot of Gore's personality a little bit.
I think he's getting marked right off the bat.
Zeus?
I think, yeah. I think he's gone.
That's how you put the
it's funny-
butcher
it's
and the
funny
God
how-
Butcher?
Yeah, it's funny how they set it up, kind of like this last episode of Moon Knight going on to the story with gods and everything. So I want to get into that a little bit later. So
Perfect. Well, we'll get into that in just a little bit after we get a gorgeous look at Thor's new suit and then summoning the Bifrost with Stormbreaker. Absolutely gorgeous stuff. Anybody else have anything else on Thor before we dismiss Mark and talk about Moon Knight?
He looks like he looks like he's in a good place in his look at that smile on his face. It's like he's gone to a self-help clinic, that he's had a weekend retreat, and he looks really happy. Summoning the Bifrost there, it looks like all of his past demons have started to just fall by the wayside. And I'm here for it, Thor. I'm here for you, buddy. I'm sorry for everything that I've ever said about you. And let's get together. Thor, I'll call you. Let's get together in June.
I'm really worried that well, you can't get ready in June. It'd be July 8th.
July. Sorry.
But I'm really worried this is it for him. I'm really, really worried this is it for him. Alex, over or under 20 minutes for the Guardians of the Galaxy. Do you think they're out of the film within the first 20 minutes?
Yeah, if they know what's good for them, yeah, I think so. I think less is more in all of the team ups. I mean, obviously we'd love them to be there for forever, but then we won't want them anymore once we've seen enough of them. So if they tease, like Rob was saying, Zeus comes in for a bit, dies, he's gone. Now I want to see Hercules, but we don't see him in this movie. Same thing with the Guardians. I thought Pratt looked awesome in this. My favorite look of his so far. And I hope we don't see a lot of him, because then I'm going to want to see more of him in a future film. So, and we will with Volume 3. So I don't think they'll overstay their welcome.
Yeah, a lot of people really concerned the fact that Gamora isn't in the group. Of course Gamora's not in the group. We're not going to go find Gamora in Thor Love and Thunder. We're going to go find Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanix guys for having me. See you soon.
all right, Mark,
See ya.
see you.
Mark.
I will say, too, that Thor costume looked a lot like Captain Marvel's costume.
Yep. I was just
Which I think would be maybe his inspiration, too, because I know he kind of was an admirer of her in Endgame.
I like this one. Okay, well, let's get into it. Let's talk about Moon Knight. We are already 45 minutes in. Thank you to Logan Dominic Cosplay on Instagram. Please look him up. Donate to his GoFundMe. Try to get him to MegaCon if we can. We'd love to help Logan out. They were very gracious with their time and some really, really cool stuff. Well, let's get into talking about Moon Knight. We start the episode even before the Marvel Studios title card, where Layla is getting a counterfeit Egyptian passport, probably because she can't get one for some other reason. But if you know somebody that can make one, that's a good person to know. So let's go to Ryan first. Ryan, do you have any thoughts or any theories on Layla, who she is, what's going on here?
I mean, I think that there's obviously more to her than we know. Her dad seemed to have some kind of connection with Moon Knight or Mark Spector, or some interaction with the mercenaries.
At least the Scarab.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm not super familiar with the comics, so I'm not sure what her background is, but there's definitely more than what we've gotten, and that's my genius take of the day.
Robert, any theories on Layla?
No, I just think that she's changing her passport because I guess the family name means nothing, or there's some bad history in Cairo, so that's why she's changing her name in the first place.
Yeah, she said earlier or later in the episode when they're in that marketplace, like, what, you think I'm just gonna not come to Cairo because there's a few people that hate my name? Yeah,
Yeah.
Alex, do you have any theories before I put on my tinfoil hat a little bit?
Yeah. So I will say too, this was my favorite of the 3 episodes, and I think it's because we got a lot more, and I hope they deviate, but we got a lot here that's kind of from the comics, and so this opening bit, I had mentioned it for the last episode that I wasn't a huge fan of Layla in the last episode, only because she kind of comes out of nowhere, like what's going on. But I knew the minute we got more time with her, we would, and literally her gossiping with the forger, and then going, when the photo came to take her picture and then going back, I was like, all right, I'm sold. I love Layla. She is Marlene is my bet. So there's a character in the comics that's Moon Knight's, love interest and, wife, on again, off again. Her father is the archaeologist from the dig site, just like Layla's father is the archaeologist. So I'm thinking that she is the Marlene, and they wanted to go with a more real world accurate person that lives in Egypt and not, a blonde haired white woman like in the comic books. But so my money is that, again, it's kind of that similar situation where her father is this dig site guy. He's a treasure guy. Mark was there, and either, he did something to him, killed him, or somebody else did, and we don't know about it. But yeah, so that's my guess.
Jalen says when she stabs the guy with her necklace, I thought the necklace did look a little bit weird until we found out that it was a full-blown weapon. That was awesome. So I've rewatched the episode. I'm trying not to go full-blown WandaVision. I'm not, but I'm putting on my tinfoil hat to an extent. Arthur talks about later in the episode. At this point, Arthur, the only thing he really lies about is to the Council of the Gods and him trying to unleash Amit. Everything else, he's fairly accurate in what he's telling people. And he tells Layla that Mark's got a secret about her family history, basically. In the last episode, we found out that Mark zip-tied some guys and shot them in the back of the head at an archaeological dig site. So I think, not Mark, I think there's a third personality, which is we're going to talk about here in just a minute. I think somehow, some way, Mark is tied to the murder of Layla's dad, and Layla doesn't know any of this information. That almost seems like a given at this point. So I don't know how Layla doesn't know this information. So I'm curious to watch how this is going to unfold. But clearly they're dropping in these little hints that Mark kind of knew her dad, and her dad obviously is a big deal. So we're going to find out more about him. So Alex, like you said, Marlene would make a ton of sense coming from a comics background, but kind of central to my theory is this third personality. We've got Mark is like really, really fun fight sequences, like not as good of a knife fight as what we got in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, but still a really cool fight sequence. You can use a knife because you can get any reflection you want to in that, where Steven takes over the body. They end up in the back of a cab. I think that makes a ton of sense for a lot of different reasons if Jake Lockley is our guy. But they end up in the back of the cab, and then they go full-blown crazy, and Mark blames Steven for stabbing all these guys, and Steven says he had nothing to do with it. Robert, can you tell us who Jake Lockley is? We assume Jake Lockley is that third personality. At least do you agree with me in that circumstance?
No, I agree with that. He's like a cab driver from New York, right? Or Alex, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, he's a cabbie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a cab driver from New York, and I think he's the one that's been like, from the first episode when he's going on a date with that lady to the steakhouse. That's not Mark or Steven, that's Jake. And I think there's a lot left out from that one, where he's escaping from the Swiss Alps. Like, Mark's, he's ruthless, but I don't think he's a killer. So
yeah, especially when we get that view of Mark with the scarab the first time Mark takes over the body in the Swiss Alps, it's like super, super bloody.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how like in the credits they always show like him with 3 faces, like shaped like a waxing gibbous moon or something like that. That tells you there's 3 personalities. That to me, that's what that's what that shows.
Alex, do you think we meet Jake Lockley in the next episode?
I think so. I think you can't hint at him. I mean, the one thing I kind of faulted the show for in the second episode was that they spent way too long on I don't know what's going on. What's happening? And it's like, we get it, man. You're a fish out of water. Like, move on. And so I think them mentioning that he's got the voice in his head twice in this episode should be enough that the next episode we figure out who it is, because we've only got 3 episodes left.
And then Khonshu saying, take the guy to the ledge, like Khonshu knows what's going to happen. Like in Mark
He'll talk.
Oh, I thought he would talk. I saw a meme that said, well, maybe you'll get a soul stone or something.
Right.
Ryan, we get the Council of the Gods because Khonshu's getting desperate, and then all the gods can take over their avatars. And I literally laughed out loud when Khonshu took over Mark's body while they're in the Pyramid of Giza. Did you laugh as well?
Yeah, that was hilarious. I mean, he's just like, taking over his full body. He has no control, and then he like goes back to Mark, and he's just like looking around, like, what the hell just happened?
He like talks with like his eyes at the bottom of his like eyelids because he's just like leaning back so far. I thought it was super funny. But there's some really heavy stuff in there. Clearly, Khonshu has burned these gods before, except for I think it's Hathor. Hathor is, I think, at least the girl seems to really take a liking to Mark, if nothing else. But Khonshu had a boo, in the words of Maya. Robert, what did you make of this entire scene of the Council of the Gods and the fact that Arthur Harrow is so easily able to sway them?
I think this is what I was talking about earlier, like with Love and Thunder, is like gods abandon man or gods abandon mortals. So that's like kind of the motivation for Gore the God Butcher. You know what I'm saying? Like moving into this next movie, it's kind of funny how this episode airs and then the trailer ends, comes out today, right after this episode airs. So something to think about.
Alex, I'd assume you're getting Eternals vibes to an extent, like I was when we're talking about how they're just observing and nothing more.
Yeah, I actually had a couple thoughts I'll pepper in here real quick too. The Forger is Miss Rosa from Orange is the New Black. If anyone watches that show, I loved the opening music for this, the Crawl, the Marvel Crawl. I could have danced to that music if they'd have just left it on for the rest of the episode. But then there's a piece, and I don't know if we were planning on talking about it, but when they discover the dig site, where they discover Amit's tomb, I thought we got some really great character development for Harrow on him. He's leading the charge. He's not letting other people go find her. But then when he like loses, he gets so happy that they found the place, and he loves the person next to him. Like he's like, we did it. And then that girl comes by and she's like, Moon Knight's here, and he goes, I know, she is here. And like he's just like, I don't care. This is I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. But yes, I wrote down, because I did a little rewatch and put some notes. Those gods are cowards. I love that Khonshu's calling them out about that. But yeah, total Eternal vibes of, hey, we're choosing not to interfere. There's a quote though, they said that he says, return from the opulence of the overvoid before you lose this realm. And the overvoid is kind of the same as like Asgard, something like that. It's the realm of the gods, but it goes towards what you're saying about Gore too, because all of these gods are basically abandoning humanity in a sense for their own opulence, and Gore's gonna, have probably something to say about that. But I thought that was interesting. Like, okay, but there's a twist here, right? Khonshu is anti-Eternal. He's like, we need to interfere. We need to keep doing what we're doing, which we don't exactly know yet what that is, but still found that very interesting.
I would be doing a disservice to fellow weirdo Anthony if I did not mention when Steven tells Mark to stop listening to the pigeon. I think that's a great call out when he's talking about Khonshu. But Khonshu kind of like, he's not softening, but he's kind of learning. One, he's learning the ways of why Steven is valuable, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. But Khonshu, he's not a hero to an extent, because he's just willing to. He will do absolutely everything that he has to do to accomplish what he needs to, but at the same time he's not trying to abandon man like you were talking about, Alex. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic to watch out, and how there's precedent within the comics of Mark, Steven, and Jake kind of working together to overcome Khonshu and kind of take him out. But we really don't know where this is headed, but at this point we're kind of team Khonshu, even though he's doing what it takes to kind of stop Amit. But Arthur Harrow, Ethan Hawke has been so good. As good as Oscar Isaac has been, Ethan Hawke has been matching him step for step in this show. It's been really, really impressive. Well, we move on to needing to find another way to find that the burial site for Amit, and they end up at this sarcophagus out with Mogart, who is played by the actor of Gaspard Ulliel. If I'm not pronouncing that correctly, I apologize. He was actually passed away in a ski accident just a few months ago. So we likely will not see any more this character, unfortunately. But some people asked why there was a call out for him at the end of the episode, and that is why he unfortunately passed away a couple months ago. But he was really fun in this role. We get our first name drop within the MCU that kind of places it in there, and they talk about Mogart in Madripoor with Layla. Brian, do you see anything? Like, do you just think this is a connective tissue if they want it to be, or do you think we're going to do Madripoor within this show?
I'm not sure we'll get back to Madripoor within this show, but I think it's just developing his character to show how powerful he is. I mean, they talked about the fact that he hires the best trainers to teach him how to fight on the horses. So it's just showing that how powerful he is, how much, influence he has over the world, especially in those type of scenes like Madripoor, where it's the power broker lives there. It's
fairly lawless.
Yeah, just developing his character a little bit. I think that's what it was mostly done for.
Robert, anything about this Madripoor name drop mean anything to you?
No, just that he's a black market dealer with Layla and Sharon Carter. That's what I think it was about. They stole the sarcophagus for what's the guy's name?
Senfu.
That was Senfu. Yeah, Senfu's the one that had the. He knew where the Amit's tomb was, so he put it on the star chart. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I know, Alex, in the comics, Mogart is Midnight Man. So I mean, maybe they were gonna head that way. Maybe now the story's gonna change. But I mean, do you see anything about this Madripoor name drop other than hey, we're
no? I think it's almost like in order in the Marvel universe to be taken seriously as a black market kind of person, you got to have a Madripoor name drop. Like you can't be taken seriously if you're not doing business in Madripoor. So I loved hearing it. I was like, okay, I don't need to see any more than that. And then I thought it was funny too. And I guess take it either way, but like, oh, did Mogart die when they threw the star at him as he's running away? Like, what we can just say that he did, right? That way we don't, because he kind of looked like it. And so I'm happy with him just being a one-off person in this one episode. If we don't have to worry about, a CGI Mogart and a new one, or them having to recast just for a small role like that. Because I'm not even super familiar with the Midnight Man. I've seen him in a couple of issues and I barely remember him.
Yeah, he clearly is the villain. There's no kind of talking around that, I don't think. And they kind of kill him off. They at least have a way to not bring him back. It was a little bit interesting is where I'll leave it. Like it was fine, but the rest of the fight sequence that we got was a lot of fun. And Steven taking over the body. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's chill the F out. Like I thought that was great, but seeing Moon Knight on top of that pyramid, getting that shot of him opening the cape in that crescent moon shape. Alex, you were nodding your head. You really liked this fight scene as well.
Yeah. And I want to make sure I call this out too for posterity. There's a bit when they're going there to Mogart's, when they're on the boat, him and Layla. And we get a lot of great growth between the two of them, and also probably some kindling of flames, perhaps, with Steven along with it. But I just absolutely loved the color grading in that scene. Like everything was this hot pink and purplish, which kind of felt like Madripoor. But that was cool. But yeah, so
they were able to put this within Egyptian culture as well, with talking about the dance and everything else that happened at their wedding, which was, from a representation standpoint, really important to a lot of people.
Yeah, I thought that was super cool. And yeah, so his fight I thought was great too. I mean, we get to this point where Steven is so stubborn, and I love this for the guy, right? You've got 3 different personalities that are totally different. But you get to this point where it was like, dude, just bring Steven back for this. Like, he can show up. He would be more professional to these people than you're being, and you'd have figured it out. But of course, he puts the suit on and we get the amazing, crescent of the suit as he lands. And we get to really find out what, there was a reason that Khonshu earlier called it his healing suit. And we see him get impaled like 8 times. And I thought that was just awesome because, like, he's totally fine. They don't even have to question it. Like, no one asks Mark if he's okay. It's just like, yep, I'm fine. I can catch bullets in my cape. Not a big deal. And I can throw a million. Like, I love the crescents, too. Like, they're just infinite. They just keep coming. So good.
The bulletproof nature of the cape, I thought, was a lot of fun. I guess Mr. Knight's suit isn't fully healing. Robert, what did you make of this fighting action sequence?
Oh, I liked it a lot, man. It was fun. I mean, to see. I'm kind of curious what Jake Lockley's take on Moon Knight is. Is there even one, for him? Because now we got Mr. Knight, and now we got Moon Knight with Mark Spector. So is there something that Jake Lockley has as far as someone in the suit?
I want my thought, Rob, because I was thinking about this the other night. I had said like, okay, if he's a personality, they're gonna have to give him a suit because they made Mr. Knight the suit for Steven. What if it's just the OG Moon Knight suit? Because the new suit, like the main Moon Knight suit, is not the typical comic book suit. Like it's all bandages, like my suit, very similar, almost identical. But the Moon Knight suit's a lot more smooth, a lot more sinister, almost. Where like the face portion's almost black sometimes, where you can't really see his face, and that would line up with him being like a complete and total murderer. So that would be kind of cool.
Ryan, what about you?
I think that Jake Lockley's suit is going to be a Gus the Fish suit.
Nice.
like that scene from Moana when Maui gets stuck and he's half shark.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I'm changing my answer. I'm going to that.
Nemo Gus, in the words of Jax. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. Ryan, what did you make of this fight sequence? Anything really stand out to you here?
It was awesome. I mean, everything that's already been said about him coming off the pyramid with the crescent moon, then blocking the bullets from Layla, getting stabbed and nothing happens. But also, Layla was really awesome in this fight scene as well when she was fighting the guard. The way she held her own, and then when she was in a little bit of a corner, just rips the necklace in half and just goes ham.
Aya says Ryan is a clown. Okay. We will kind of finish up with our last little bit, which is a lot to talk about. But Khonshu says, I remember every night. And Khonshu turns back the sky and gets imprisoned in stone. The visuals of Khonshu turning back that night sky with the help of Mr. Knight, I thought was cinematic. People have been complaining about things of the CGI in this episode. I think this had to land, and I think everything about this landed. I thought it was really, really impressive. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. Robert, it sounds like you agree.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, man, like the accuracy, like the time they took to show like the Earth wobble and stuff, like you see the lights moving, and you see like the moon moving in like a lazy 8 or like an infinity symbol. That's all like real astronomy stuff. It's pretty cool. Like, yeah, I've heard a little bit about people talking crap about it, but I thought it was great.
My favorite thing about the entire thing is like people will complain about the jackal not looking like a real jackal. Like you're willing to suspend disbelief for their invisible jackal to be doing its thing, and they're going to complain about what he looks like. It kind of drives me crazy. Ryan, what about you? What about this Khonshu finally realizing Steven has a purpose here? I think Mark turning the body over to Steven, and then I saw another meme the other day where it's Tiffany Haddish like holding Kevin Hart, like saying Steven, and she's babying him and pointing back at Mark Spector, like stop being mean to Steven. I thought it was really great. But Layla loves Steven. But like Ryan, what did you make of Steven showing his worth and Khonshu kind of realizing what that worth is and being able to do this?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it finally shows the balance that we're going to need between these two characters, between Steven and Mark. And then, the personalities of Moon Knight and Mr. Knight to make this thing work. I mean, one can't work without the other because there's always going to be some kind of internal conflict. So the fact that Mark was willing to realize he has some shortcomings and relinquish the body to Steven, where he knows that he's more knowledgeable in astronomy, was awesome. But then Khonshu just, doing what he had to, even though it was calling for his imprisonment, to stop Harrow was awesome.
Alex, if nothing else, we learned that Donna is really bad at her job for not hiring Steven as a tour guide at the museum.
Yeah, she was a big opportunity missed for sure. He's very knowledgeable. It's funny too, as we see that at the end with Khonshu, that was something where, what was it? There was something I was reading before even the episode came out. People have the reviews almost immediately. It was saying something about Khonshu being bad. And I was like, oh no, like, are they going to go to that so soon? Because he's a deity and there's moments where he's a bad guy, but for the most part, he's not that. And I really liked how throughout this episode, we progressed to see that he, in this moment, is a good person in a sense, a good god. But I also wonder too of like how much of this is also just his machinations anyway, because he mentions that he's already been imprisoned in stone. Like this has happened to him before. So we don't know how did he get out of that before? Like how did he clearly did. And then he in the span of a day does an eclipse and changes the sky back and he's like, hey, just tell Mark to come get me come pick me up after this. And but that's kind of what it felt like. And even to the piece, like at the end when Harrow comes in and gives that amazing speech about how my victory will be because of you, and he doesn't even break the statue. But I'm wondering, is it as simple, like Harrow just showed up, is it as simple as Mark just walking into the Pyramid of Giza and grabbing that statue and smashing it on the ground and it releases him? Or is it something a little more complicated? Because Khonshu made it seem like it's not the biggest deal in the world that he got imprisoned, like, oh, I do this all the time sort of thing, which I found interesting, especially because I feel like Harrow would have known to try, because that was my first thought, was like, oh shoot, when he picked up that statue, I was like, he's not going to break this and then we never have Khonshu again, but he puts it back. So it was like, does he know something we don't know? I don't know. That's my question, is what happened.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I think it's because like that's how he got involved with him in the first place, right? Because like in the comics, he was near death, and Khonshu kind of like saves him. So maybe he'll remember how to get back there and find him. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, and maybe that was where the dig site was somewhere nearby that pyramid. Because and Steven's been there already, right? He was there when he was the Avatar earlier. So it's like, hey, just come back to the pyramid when no one's around. Like you can just get in there and grab the statue. I don't know. I don't think it'll be that simple, but it kind of seems like it is.
And they've done a good job at showing the complexity of Khonshu. Like, one, he's terrifying to look at, but two, he's kind of the hero of this entire story, but at the same time, he's the villain because he made Arthur Harrow who he is. I think that this talk from Arthur Harrow to Khonshu at the end of, you forged me into this, like he's thanking him for what he turned him into, which is really, really interesting. Khonshu's his own worst enemy at a lot of turns. It's really interesting that every time we see, like, I mean, Khonshu saying TikTok Mark Spector because Layla's right there. Like, Khonshu wants Layla. Like, we've been told this at every turn. Robert, let's put our tinfoil hats on. We're told that episode 4 is going to have a mind bender of some sort. Let's even go beyond that. Do you think Moon Knight coming out of this show is still played by Oscar Isaac, or do you think we're going to have a passing of the torch potentially to Layla?
Probably a passing of the torch, I think. I don't think they're going to keep Oscar Isaac for that long, so maybe.
He claims he's one and done, so
yeah.
He's also could be a big fat liar. Alex, what about you? What mind-bending thing do you think may be coming? Because a third personality for me doesn't bend the mind.
I hope it's something that I and all of us have no idea what it is, because I no offense to any speculation, but I feel like every idea has been like, oh, no, not that. Like, I don't want Layla to be Moon Knight in episode 4. Like, I want as much Oscar Isaac as I can get for as long as I can get. I can't wait to see Layla put on the suit, because you can't just, drop that Chekhov's gun and not fire it to say that she's, going to be the Avatar at some point. But we need more. I mean, we've seen Moon Knight for like 5 minutes, maybe less in terms of screen time. We need more. So that one, I'd say no. I've seen people saying that all of this is in his head and he's in a mental hospital. Also hope that's not true. Great story. Awesome. Tell it a different time, because you've built up so much over these 3 episodes. To say that it's all fake, I think would throw a loop. It'd be a mind bender, but it'd also be like a time to turn off the TV. And then, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, in terms of mind bending, maybe it's all been taking place in the microverse, the quantum realm. It's just all been in the quantum realm, or I don't know. I really don't. I'm so excited that I have no idea. All we know is maybe there's another personality coming. There's some sort of war with the gods that's probably going to take place, but I don't know anything else, and I love that.
Ryan, any predictions?
Yeah, now I'm thinking. Now my tinfoil hat's really going on. So everyone, stay with me here for a minute.
Maya says she does not want a Fight Club ending. Spoiler alert for Fight Club.
So we are going to get something like we got in episode 6 of Loki. We are going to get the villain in a future movie in this episode. We are going to get Gore the God Butcher this week.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Whoa, I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
That's my
cool.
tinfoil hat.
That's hardcore.
Almost like maybe he goes back to the pyramid to free Khonshu, and it turns out Gore came to the pyramid and killed everybody there, and so all their bodies are there dead, And maybe, I don't know, because he wouldn't kill the avatars. He would just straight up kill the gods. I don't know if you'd see that, but I like that idea. That's crazy.
That would be way more interesting than Blade showing up. I am of the belief that there is a misdirect in the trailers, because there's a spot in the trailer where Mark is in a white suit. He looks like he's in some sort of mental institution. He's smacking himself in the face. I do believe that to be a bit of a misdirect. I believe that Arthur Harrow is some sort of projection of Jake Lockley, and being like that other personality that's kind of acting against what Steven and Mark are doing. I could see Arthur Harrow not being a real person, and he's more a manifestation of that third personality that's trying to do something against the other two personalities. Like I'm still kind of thinking this through. I do see, however, a circumstance in which Layla does die, and Mark basically lets Khonshu take over so she doesn't have to die. Like, I do think that's fairly possible. So I really don't know. Like, I didn't say it into like a little TikTok mic, so I don't know if it officially counts. It's fun to speculate, but in the grand scheme, we found out during WandaVision, during Loki, it's not worth it to speculate. Let's just enjoy the ride. We were gonna finish within an hour tonight, and then they dropped that Thor trailer on us. But regardless, we are only like 30 hours away from another episode of Moon Knight being available to us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Alex, we've got Fantastic Beasts, the crime. What is it? No, not. It's the Secrets of Dumbledore.
Well, there are some crimes of Grindelwald in this movie, but that is not the title. There's secrets in this movie. It's the Secrets of Dumbledore.
Secrets. Okay, well, we've got Comics and Cinema tomorrow night at 8:00 Eastern. Robert, thank you so much for joining us. It was good to see you.
I appreciate you guys, man.
And Ryan, Agents of Field, will be recording Wednesday night for a podcast release of Thursday morning. Anything else that anybody needs to plug?
Logan Dominic Cosplay on Instagram.
You beat me to it. Go follow at Logan Dominic Cosplay on Instagram. If you can donate to his GoFundMe, let's see if we can get him to MegaCon. This kid was awesome. Him and his dad, Emmanuel, were very gracious with their time. But gentlemen, thank you so much. And until next time, laters, Gators.
Earth's Mightiest Weirdos is brought to you by Pinch of Pixie Dust Travel. People who love travel understand that life isn't about the breaths you take, it's about the moments that take your breath away. That's why we help coordinate the most magical adventures for you and your family. Disney, Universal, Sandals, Norwegian, Carnival, and more, we are a full-service concierge travel agency that will help with every aspect of your journey. Let us take care of the details while you enjoy your family. Get a quote today by calling us at 570-832-7798 or fill out a trip request form at pinchofpixiedusttravel.com. Just follow the second star to the right straight on to your adventure. That's pinchofpixiedusttravel.com, where you're making memories one trip at a time.